Greetings, everyone. Welcome. We're going live. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. We're going live. What you see is what you get. I'm back. The title of this video is dealing with this is an update for my subscribers. Part two. Not sure how many of you all will join. Just wanted to give you guys kind of a brief update. This is going to be like a freestyle, but first, before I get into things, this video is for informational, educational, entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her own homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged that you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. With that being said, these are simply my thoughts and opinions. All rights are reserved. Now, got some updated information I wanted to give you guys. It's been a while. Like I said, I'm not sure. Maybe it's on a weekend night. How many are going to join the chat? But I'm going to explain the reason why I haven't done a video in a while. I wanted to kind of go into because the last video, some of you all, if you're familiar with, I mentioned, or the previous one prior to that organization that I'm part of, they don't want me to discuss the name or mention certain names, which I feel is real petty. But I thought I was given information that I was kicked out. Come to find out, I wasn't. However, at the same time, I was considering not really coming back because just to let you guys know who really follow me to that particular organization or that group, because of what had transpired, what had taken place. I had already done previous videos in the past speaking about that, and I'm going to kind of speak in code. There's some things that are supposed to be taking place coming down the pipeline that are very concerning. I have a friend that's involved in a totally separate discipline where this information I was explaining intersects with the discipline that he's involved with as far as the forecast of certain critical events that are coming down the pipeline. Yes, I do have sources. I want you guys to understand I'm not making this information up, but these powers that be, these people from this particular event that I was part of, or I refer to as private clandestine operation, actually. And I forgot to mention, I probably could touch on that later, but check out Book of Secrets. If you guys are familiar with, I'm not sure if you guys can help me out, if it aired on the History Channel or if it was the Discovery Channel, I don't remember, but it went over what a private clandestine operation is. You can kind of look it up to get an understanding with it, whatever it is. So for those out there that don't know, but there are individuals, excuse me, from this organization who are watching my channel. They watch what I say, and then you also have people, I believe, are snitches that go and report back to the higher ups and stuff like that too. But come to find out, I just want to clarify some things. The previous video that I put out just very recently, that's why I call this one part two, is there was incorrect information. But however, I found out I wasn't kicked out as far as that thing that was supposed to be going on. However, it was stated that they didn't really clarify that they don't want me talking about information related to that particular thing, operation. But it looks like other stuff I was explaining to a fellow member, other things that I talked about, I was trying to get clarification. Is that an issue too? Like stuff that's related, but was not like necessarily related to the information that they taught us at the events that I attended. There was information that I knew already because I work in private security, and there was a video screen capture I did not too long ago where I went over. It was like a map of the shareholders of the Federal Reserve. You can pull up online. I showed the date on there to show evidence because I wanted you guys to see proof. I don't make this stuff up. But I actually asked a friend of mine, he used to work for the same security company that I work for. He had a PI license. That stands for private investigator. And someone else who I know years ago actually had that information. It was online, it's public domain, and it has nothing to do. Well, I won't say it has nothing to do, but it's really wasn't related to what I was doing with that private operation thing that I was part of, that they don't want me speaking about. But I wanted to let my subscribers know to get right into the meat and potatoes, because some of you guys have asked me the reason why I don't talk about the Iraqi dinar anymore, or the I don't really touch on the global currency reset. I didn't originally know at first that some of this stuff that it was related, but it appears like that's even related to this organization. And I want to say I was part of some other stuff too. I'll refer to as prosperity programs. I don't know if there's I do know there's some sort of connection, but with this particular group operation that I'm referring to, that didn't want me talking about or speaking about certain information, I want to let you guys know I was mistaken for somebody else. They said that put some documents out online, and I want to say the difference with my channel, I didn't put out any documents and related to that operation that I was part of some years ago. Only to members of people that attended the event have I networked with, or people related, part of the redemption education stuff. I just want to be clear on that. They said when I tried to get clarification from the individual, I still didn't get a chance yet to reach out to some of the higher ups, but some of the individuals that I spoke with, once I got clarification, come to find out it wasn't me. But however, they said they were aware of who I was, and they shined a microscope on Dorsey's Resource and on myself. And they, I guess, didn't like some of the content or some of the information I put out. They felt was high powered. They didn't want you guys to know or whatever. But it was not clarified to me what specific video it was. It was stated that it was a recent video that I did more so recently, but I don't know which one. And so what I'm just letting give you guys a heads up, I'm not sure down the road what I'm going to be doing with my channel, if I'm going to shut it down probably completely, because I don't want to jeopardize anything that I have coming through. At the same time, I'm a team player, but I was part of some other stuff. I'll just say some other programs, or some may say investments. I'm not saying what they are, so I wouldn't be violating any non-disclosure agreements or anything like that, because I'm not saying no specific names, but just I'm speaking very vaguely, but to give you guys enough understanding. And this was stated some years ago on a private call, how you would explain this to people, but I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. But however, I don't want to jeopardize, because this stuff appears to be, and this is the language they use where I work in private security, that it appears to be attached to these people real high up that were running this one particular event that I was part of, or organization I kind of had ties to. I refer to it without saying the name of it as a private clandestine operation, as far as what it is, and dealing with so-called, I'll say, humanitarian projects, the like. But it's a certain name of a particular institution that was stated to me. They didn't want me mentioning the name. I felt this was real petty, but I did not put out documents as this individual was stated. They told me, some people who were members of it, that told me this individual was kicked out or whatever, because he put out some documents from this organization or from this group. But I wanted to let you guys know it wasn't me. So I received some misinformation, but at the same time, I can't stop them from being pissed or mad at me, but I want you guys to know the truth. But this is how rumors spread and stuff like that. So I wanted to clarify by doing this video specifically to my subscribers. I have about 6,000 subscribers, according to the numbers that YouTube has estimated. Maybe could be over maybe 5,000 when you remove all the trolls or people that may have passed away or don't really follow me anymore actively, but are still subscribed or whatever. Approximately, I would just say over 5,000 roundabout estimate, which is nothing compared to some people that have way more than that. But as far as my credibility, I'm a man of integrity. So I wanted to come before you guys and let you guys know that previous video was inaccurate, because I received some misinformation by some people who were members of that organization. They felt like that I'm a good person. They wanted to reach out to me. I appreciate them. They wanted to see me continue, but they said things on pins and needles because there's some things expected to come down the line. Now, I don't know everything that's supposed to transpire or supposed to take place. I know some of you guys in my previous video, this is also like a Q&A, so you're welcome to chime in, ask questions. By the way, just to give you guys a heads up, for those of you who are watching, don't be afraid if you have any questions, because I want to provide clarification, while I'm here. But that's why I hadn't put out a video in a while, and I was contemplating on what I may do. Just to give you guys a heads up, is I may start talking about an entirely different subject. That's why I did do some videos, a couple videos on mainstream topics, like stuff that's like mainstream, but I was thinking about other topics that I'm interested in, like astrology, maybe silver coins, dealing with like basic knowledge. I thought about doing like some tutorial self-help videos dealing with like maybe survival, stuff like that. Because Dorsey's Resource, Daryl Eves, for example, he's like a YouTube coach or a coach for content creators out there. And he said you should just have one channel. I know there's people that when they talk about different topics, they create different channels geared towards that specific genre. But Daryl Eves mentioned too, you can just have just one channel as well. Sometimes it's not a need to just break off and create multiple channels, but I get the reason why some people are very good at their entrepreneur marketing skills. But it's pretty much with me, with this channel, Dorsey's Resource, it's freestyle. That's why I call it open forum, also Q&A, to give you guys a chance to interact with me and ask questions in real time. This is the best time to catch me when I'm not at work or whatever, and that's a whole nother discussion within itself so far. So I didn't really have any notes with me, so this was kind of like a freestyle that I just wanted to give you all out there and update and clarify. If you guys did watch the previous video, I do want to thank all my subscribers, the people who continue to follow me, support me, thumbs up my videos. If you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, I'm now on minds.com. I also just created a gab.ai account, but it looks like it's not too much activity on there since what happened. I won't go into the details with Gab, but they're back. I'm looking at getting on some other platforms. I was also looking at getting an Instagram account, but just keeping it basic. With some of this stuff, I am aware that this particular organization I was part of, they stress privacy. And I do get that, but that we also are in a technological age too, where it was stated, I was sharing with some people that I heard about Facebook, because I follow the private sector, and there were some elite people that Facebook had made some accommodations for with some of the settings for like members of the ruling class elite or their children to set their pages up private with different settings of privacy that they can have. And I was sharing with some people how there's very famous actors I had discovered that have pages where you can't even add them as a friend. They weren't even fan pages, but their security is like locked up. Even I discovered some years back, even the Queen of England had a personal Facebook page, not just a fan page, her and some other members, but they actually had a private like account, like someone would create like a personal account actually. But of course it was going through like protected by probably firewall, people, a whole IT department or whatever at the time or whatnot. But I just was sharing that to share that the private sector still exists, but they, there's different methods that are utilized too, where they can exist in the public, or sometimes from both sectors, in the public and private. But there is a distinction. And there's some people that just want to be totally private, but this futuristic society that we're moving into with all the technology, it's going to be difficult for some people with all of the cameras and stuff. Like when you go to the grocery stores and gas stations, various places, there's cameras that are scanning faces and things you may not even know. But I do understand that aspect where they're coming from. So what I was looking at doing was this particular organization, which I refer to once again as a private clandestine operation, did not want me talking about certain things. I wanted them to clarify specifically, but it looks like stuff that's related, like those forms. I'm not saying the name of that particular corporation in New York that some people are familiar with or whatever, that I could say, you know, with the forms, but that wasn't me. The person who had uploaded those forms, I was mistaken. I thought that I had been kicked out or removed, whatever, but I felt I had a need to let my subscribers know what was going on, because I worked hard to build this channel up. These people haven't delivered yet as far as in terms of the currency, the money that we were supposed to be getting. I know some of you all remember when I showed that card and the videos, some of them, the ones that I removed, the main videos, for those of you all who know what I'm talking about, I never got access to that because some people did, but because they had messed up, so they cut it down, they cut it off, and they messed it up for all the rest of us who were supposed to be going through that. So I've kind of really, to be honest with you guys, just you're seeing the sincere aspect of me, is I've lost a lot of my my motivation towards that. When I was first told about this back in 2009, actually around the same time in 2009, my cousin down in the DC area told me about this event. Like, once again, I'm not saying the name, but it's related to this organization. And at the time, I was 29 years old, going on 30. And ironically, this is 10 years later. We're in 2009, and I'm going on 40 years old. I'll be 40 next month. So, you know, I felt like this is years wasted. You know, some people, one guy was saying that I spoke with, people have various opinions about it. He said, I'm taking it personal, but you know, there was people that were part of this that are mad, that are upset because we were promised. It's like giving people false hopes and false dreams. And I was discussing with a friend of mine, because remember back then too, to clarify, when they talk about privacy and stuff, that they want to separate some things, but there were people who were part of the redemption movement back then, or there were people that heard about this particular seminar and event, but just decided not to go. They were like, they had friends, they were like, if you go, tell me about it. But I kept it amongst myself, my main circle, whatever, my confidants, or people that I knew. They wouldn't tell anybody because they didn't have anybody that they could relate to who understands this type of information. Like, one of my close friends was concerned about my safety, whatnot. That's one of the reasons why he convinced me to go public or whatever. And one of the reasons why I did go public. And I said I was hoping to see this come to fruition. So there's a balancing act at the same time. You know, I feel like some of the things I said in the previous video, they should have delivered, because YouTube is the little AdSense money I get. I never had a donation link set up. Some people had suggested. I don't have a Patreon yet. I should have probably did those things a long time ago. But, you know, a little AdSense, that revenue that I did get, the little currency capital was helping me out. But these people, they basically want us to keep our faith and continue along kind of in blind faith, and just we keep getting these promises that things are going to happen. We were told we're almost at the end of this month, and we were told last year when this individual resurfaced, we were going to be funded already, or we were going to be taken care of. And, you know, I was just under the impression that we weren't going to have to go through that same situation with opening those accounts back up. For those of you I'm speaking in code that know what I'm talking about, specific, because if you don't attend these events, then, you know, you won't know what this is unless you're somebody in the know. And if you know that much, then, you know, then you're basically on the same level that I'm at. It's not like no breach of privacy or whatever. You are aware. This is not hidden information, because some people knew about this these meetings back in 2009 and decided not to attend. You know, they want to sit back and wait, but that's on them. You know, I had discussions with some people. I said, hey, look, you know, you had a chance to, you know, attend. If you want to, you know, be part of it, then, you know, your opportunity, unless, you know, you go through somebody else, so they're going to pull you through. I guess that's like the only way, I guess I hear, that you can get in. And another thing, you had people who made it through all the way, but they didn't reach back and help. So you had a combination of things why there's people that are displeased. I myself still feel disenfranchised. It's not about taking this personally, because I'm speaking on behalf of other people that this is affected tremendously. Like I said, if this was on the public sector, there's no way in the world that you would get away with, individuals would get away with this. They would probably be in jail by now. If these individuals, if they weren't above the law, if they weren't exempt, I'm not going to go into all of that, the details. They'd probably be arrested. I know the difference between what a Ponzi scheme is and stuff like that. And I've done my research. However, but there needs to be some transparency to a degree. There needs to be proper checks and balances if you expect people to follow along. And people have been so loyal and done their due diligence this many years, this long, and it's not that I'm complaining. I'm happy, gracious if I can make it all the way through, because I've been loyal for the most part, more so than some people. And if I go into a little background about my own personal life or whatever, and there's a story that I was going to tell. I was a security guard at an apartment building back in 2005, and I was on duty one night, and it was a particular incident that I saw. I was in the lobby on patrol, and I saw, for the glance of my eye, I peeked out and saw a woman. Her body was completely inverted, upside down. On her head, there was a gentleman that was holding her by her legs, like by her ankles, and he was slamming her head against the curve. And I had a split-second decision to make, to swoop into action, and I didn't realize that would be a defining point in my life. It's a true story. And had I not intervened, this woman could have been killed, or could have gone into a coma or whatever. Come to find out, to make a long story short, there were some individuals that lived in the apartment building, people that they kind of knew each other. They knew who I was or whatever. Some young guys I talked to, they said she was having an affair with a married man, and she had contacted the guy's wife or whatever, was harassing her, called numerous times, and he got upset. So he waited to that night to get revenge or whatever. And the reason I'm telling this story is to show I'm a man of integrity. And this is one moment. The reason I say it was a defining moment in my life, at the time I was 26 years old. It was the summer of 2005. And word had traveled around the city of Detroit. It was such a small world that I found out a year later, my landlord, who I was paying rent to at a house I was renting, worked with the guy at Chrysler. By the way, such a small world. So I'm glad that particular night, I swooped into action. I saved the young lady. When I went outside, he was, slamming her head against the curb, and she regained her strength back when I came out there, and she was trying to get her phone and stuff back. And I was making my way towards the guy. I was in uniform. I was unarmed at the time, by the way. That particular company, that account you could carry, but I was actually unarmed. I was a security guard. So I was on duty, and had I not intervened, like I said, something drastic could have been far worse. And she asked me when the whole ordeal was over with, when the young man, he got away in time. I wasn't able to make my way to him. He had got around in his car. By that time, she was trying to pull her phone out of the car, and she was going through a struggle with them. So my supervisor at the time, he was a football coach. And if coaches, they're like mentors. By the way. And, like when I was hearing about Urban Meyer retiring from Ohio State was very emotional for me, because I'm from Ohio. They're one of my favorite, my top favorite college football team. There's some other ones I like. Also being in Michigan, I have best friends who are Michigan fans, and also Michigan State I go with next. That's just the order, because I'm from Ohio. Some of my best friends know that. But coaches are like mentors, and my supervisor's name was Coach Henry at the time. I won't say his first name. And he said when I left, where he was in the process of leaving that account, they were trying to make me a supervisor because of this particular incident that happened. And he told me, he said, you've earned your wings. It was a very defining moment, because he said I remember the first day I started, I was real nervous. I was like, I want to quit. I want out of this. I don't even want to do this job. But that night I manned up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the alpha male trait. That's not no beta male stuff. Because I know some guys, some people I worked with, and I heard them in a private conversation. And boy, I'm not going to go into the details, but some dudes pulled a pump down because there was a incident. The reason I'm telling this story is to show there's other aspects of my life, other stories I could tell. But like I say, this was a very defining moment in my life that at the time, that if you remember, there was an incident that took place, a separate incident that went viral. This made national news. And I traced back the date. It was around 2011 in Seattle, where a girl had gotten beat up in like a subway somewhere in Seattle. And they were saying the security guards did nothing all. They just stood around and watched the fight happen and watched the girl get beat up or whatever. So I felt during the incident that took place when I worked at that building at the time. It was called Eagles Landing apartment building. And they since renovated. Another company bought it out. It's called the Solaire building or something like that. There are 2 high-rise buildings we were responsible for patrolling. I used to sometimes be in the front building. That's where the incident happened at. And I worked with Southfield police at the time. And the young lady who the incident that had occurred that night, right after the incident, the guy had taken off. She asked me, should I contact the EMS, the paramedics? And I said, yes. It was a good decision. I couldn't really see that well because it was dark at night in front of the building. There wasn't a lot of light. But when we got in the building, I saw a large contusion on her head. So more likely medically, she had suffered blunt force trauma. I would say it was major. And I think she may have even had a medical condition, because I see she had, like, for a car, like a handicap. People have like the handicap thing for a car. So she may have had some type of condition. So had I not gone into action and done what I've done that night, but I received accolades. And the reason I'm telling this story too is because I don't really have anybody who will tell this story on my behalf. There's people that judge you just by your perception and assume things and make stuff up. And I want to say, in relation to the previous video that I put out, there was misinformation I received. 2 members of that organization had contacted me and told me I wasn't kicked out, but they had mistaken me for somebody else. But this is very kind of troubling to me, because one individual was adamant that it was me. And then he corrected himself later on. So people can be quick to point the blame and point the finger at people, but there's a saying that you should not be so quick to judge and hesitant to understand, but understand a person, understand the situation. Don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes you need to look deeper. And the reason why I put out the videos and go over the type of information that I do is I want people to understand you can't be a weekend warrior when you research this information, but it's important to think out of sight, out of mind. I present thought-provoking information because I feel like you need to look at things just deeper than just what the media tells you. I think you need to take a deeper aspect. So I like to go more in depth sometimes, and that's the reason why I share certain types of information and go over things. But I wanted to give you guys an update and clarify from my previous video the reason why I thought that I was kicked out or whatever was because some individuals that were part of that particular organization, one of them had contacted me and was concerned and told me to give the head person a call, which I hadn't had a chance to do yet because I contemplated on not even coming back because of what happened. Some of you guys are familiar with my previous video I had put out a long time ago, the video where I showed the car. Yusuf El had actually shared that video. So big shout out to Yusuf once again. He didn't have to do that. And that video went viral at the time. I took it down. I had over 80,000 views. That was my #1 video at the time. It had that was the equivalent of going viral, seen by a lot of people, and was even, posted on some other stuff, whatever. I was just giving my experience. But the reason I showed emotion, or the reason I show emotion in some of my videos too, to give you guys better clarification, is I want you guys to see the realness of me, that of my individual character. I'm not just making this stuff up. I do take notes sometimes, but I'm actually just freestyling, going off the top of the head, just so you guys will know. but I wanted to just provide clarification. I really didn't intend maybe for this video to be that long, but I wanted you guys to know, in case I go dark, you guys will understand the reason, or if I shut this whole channel down. But I appreciate my subscribers out there. You guys out there do know you can follow me. I am on Facebook. I have Dorsey's Resource. I have 2 different Dorsey's Resource pages. Some people follow me on my personal account, which is fine, but that might get shut down the road too. I don't know. Depends on how things go. I just use it to mainly stay in touch with family members. I don't always stay logged in. I log out. Sometimes I'll read a few posts. Sometimes I could be on there for a while. I'll just read, because they say on the news, that's how a lot of people receive their news nowadays, is mostly on social media now. And, Facebook bought all Instagram too, by the way. So I just want to stay abreast of things, keep you guys abreast, have a way of having the ability to stay in contact with me. I do believe there is a way, I know, for me to be private. At the same time, I would hope that what these people promise comes to fruition. And I want to say once again, to reiterate, that particular organization, that was not the only thing that I was part of. I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. I just refer to as investments, or some may refer to as prosperity programs. So, just to give more clarification. So I wasn't really going to even come back, but I said, I'll see what happens. I lost a lot of my motivation, to be honest. Like I said, I told the story earlier. When I first heard about that, we're going on 10 years later now. And very interesting. But I got to say, all of this time, I've learned a lot of information. I've matured. But I felt like there was a lot of time that was wasted as well, that if they're talking about humanitarian projects and stuff, and people getting properly structured and learning how to properly structure themselves to operate through these entities, there could have been classes taught. Why was all this time just wasted? And then it appears as though there were certain people that received preferential treatment that were looked out for, that, kind of strikes me, kind of rubs me the wrong way in a sense. But it's like, hey, what can you do when you're dealing with elite people? They can pick and choose who they want, but I just told that story earlier to demonstrate. I have other stories, other stories I can tell to demonstrate my integrity. There was one instance a couple years ago. I was on duty one night. It was 3 a.m. I won't forget. There was a smoke coming out, or fire coming out of a house in Detroit on Sussex Street. And I was yelling on the whole block, and nobody came outside for a while. I was yelling at the top of my lungs. I believe there was a lady. She was upstairs, actually. She was, I believe, a grandmother, older woman. And fortunately, eventually, I didn't give up. I was on duty at the time, but I happened to drive past. But what if I just rolled past and just didn't do nothing, or just waited? God forbid, who's to say what happened? But I did my part. I called 911 and I yelled to try to get the attention of people, and no one came outside for a minute. And finally, it was a neighbor across the street. Fortunately, I guess the people that lived over there, they knew the lady. I think the sister, young girl, may have been related, or she may have looked out for them, being a good neighbor, being very neighborly. And she asked me, did I call 911? I let her know I called 911 so you could hear the fire trucks. They were already en route coming. And fortunately, they got there in time. The older lady, she made it out the house. I briefly spoke with the fire marshal earlier. He was inspecting the area that this incident happened at, and he thanked me for it too. So I'm just telling this story, just to show, because there's people out here that develop these stereotypes and stuff, that are quick to judge people by their cover and don't really know a person's background or the type of integrity a person may have. And the reason I'm telling this story is not to try to boast or brag, but sometimes, a lot of other instances I was discussing with a friend of mine, a lot of people get likes on social media, and, they don't really have anybody to really tell the story on their behalf, or like some people do. that really know these people personally. But the reason I'm just sharing these stories once again is to demonstrate this is the integrity that I have. And I just hope that and pray that these people come through on their end, that we will eventually see these things come to fruition and let my subscribers kind of know what's going on. So before I shut this video down, like I said, it was open to Q&A, but I didn't see anybody join in the chat, which is fine. It is Saturday night weekend. Hope you guys are having a great time. I was watching the game earlier between the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. Golden State is the Dubs. They're my favorite teams, but I have other teams that I like too. By the way, big shout out. I love their chemistry, their continuity, that depth lineup from some years ago. So I was into that, but just to give you guys a heads up, in case that I do go dark for a while, you guys kind of know what's going on, because it's like they wanted me to shut up, I guess, talking about certain things, but they didn't specifically clarify. But it appears as though it's things related to that particular organization, that event. And I want to say I wasn't the person that put out that those forms or that paperwork. I heard that person was removed or whatever, dealing with that particular corporation. That wasn't me. But the individuals made it seem like it was me. It was like, see, they were just pointing the finger, judging, and come to find out it wasn't even me. But what it did is it shined a microscope on who I was, and they're saying that they don't want you to be public and stuff like that. So I would still like to do YouTube videos or social media, but it looks like I'm maybe venturing into talking about a whole different topic entirely. So if you guys have any ideas or feedback on any particular topics, let me know. I'm looking at, maybe speaking about astrology, doing some tutorial videos, stuff like that, and maybe stuff dealing with just basic information, dealing with banking or precious metals, just to give you guys a heads up. But I haven't really decided, kind of like a freestyle. So with that being said, you guys can follow me on Facebook at Dorsey's Resource. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource. Of course, I'm on YouTube. And I just joined Minds.com. I'm on there. Haven't been really active as much. And I'm also on Gab.ai. And I'm looking at, like, maybe real soon, doing an Instagram account, just putting some basic photo pictures up of myself, give you guys kind of like a brief background, on the social media tech age. So with that being said, you guys will be aware of what's going on. Hopefully I'll keep you posted. And until next time, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, in the lower right-hand corner, when you hit the notification bell, whenever I do put out new videos, YouTube will notify you for updates. Until next time, thank you guys for joining me. I'm your host, John Dorsey at Dorsey's Resource. Take care.